Ministries from Aspen Christian College and Seminary of Aspen, Colorado. She gained her Christian Life Coach certification and Professional Life Coach certification from New Life Coach, Inc. Anita is the author of Discipline Through Your Disability, where she shares the beginning of her journey with her son, Nicholas, who has Down syndrome. In 2017 and 2018, she presented a workshop based on topics from her book at the National Down Syndrome Congress Convention. Anita is currently working on her second book to be released in the fall of 2018. Dr. Anita is the founder of Just in the Nick of Time, Inc., and In My Auntie's Arms, 501c3 nonprofit organization. Her passions lie in empowering and encouraging others not to lose their faith in God when faced with major life-changing events. Currently, she attends the Greater Mount Pleasant Baptist Church under the pastoral leadership of Dr. David Henderson, Jr., where she serves as the Director of Ministry. Welcome to the table, the amazing Dr. Anita Penn. How are you?
Thank you so much. I am doing great. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So listening to all of that, I was like, wow. Well, that is all me. Thank you so much.
Yes, you are welcome. I'm honored and humbled, Dr. Anita, to have you at the table tonight to share some of your amazing wisdom and knowledge that you're going to share about empowerment and just not losing faith. So I'm just excited for our listeners to hear your expert advice on, faith and empowerment. So would you please tell us more about... Important. Yes. Would you please tell us more about your amazing bio? It's amazing. So tell us more about your entrepreneur journey.
Well, thank you. Actually, I was working a very, very good job with American Airlines. I was really enjoying it, able to travel, able to go when I wanted to go where I wanted to go, and was making decent money. But I had my son, my second pregnancy, I had twins, and I was advised at the 22nd week of my pregnancy that baby B had a heart defect. It was not growing properly. So all of my plans had been derailed at that moment. I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to do. I didn't know how to function. I didn't know if I was going to have a baby that was alive or a baby that would come here sleeping. So I just had to really hone in on my faith and trust that God would see me through that. Well, so far as my entrepreneur journey, I gave up what I knew. I gave up everything in order to raise this little boy. And that made me start having to focus on God and say, well, you know what? If I worked hard for man, how can I work hard for God? And so I began this journey just by saying, okay, God, I want you to know that you can trust me. Every day I see you, and I can trust you because I see how my son is thriving. So I want to make sure that you can trust me in return. And that was what made me make my confession to him, make my confession to Christ. Let him know that whatever you say, God, I'm doing it. I'm sticking with it. I'm not going to let go. It doesn't matter how hard it gets. I'm not going to let go. And ultimately, after that, I went through divorce. I've been 11 years. By the grace of God, have not gone back on a job. Me and my children, we're fine. We're making it. We don't have a whole lot of extra, but we're good. God has allowed me to author a book. I am working on 3 more projects at this time, and things are just really fantastic. So I just like to tell people, you don't have to lose your faith. Yes, things happen. Yes, things come up that we don't necessarily want. Yes, things come up that alter our lives. My entire life was altered, and everybody who was connected to me, their lives were altered as well. I didn't make all the best decisions. I'm the first to say, I know I stopped being a wife when I started being a mother to this little boy. So I know I didn't make the best decisions, but God can still turn things around and set you on the right path. And so that's my main thing. Don't give up on God. He'll see you through no matter how the situation looks.
Love it, love it, love it. Love your amazing journey. And I know tonight we're talking more about, like I said, the empowerment and just not losing your faith. So, Dr. Anita, why is faith so important in business?
Faith is important in business because without it, things will things will look bad. Things will sound bad. People will make it seem worse than what it is. And what faith says is that I'm going to believe that something is going to happen that doesn't even seem like it's possible. And so if you look at just my situation, here you are, a single woman. You have 3 children to take care of. You're not working at a job. I don't punch a clock. Things could start looking really bad. You know, you can run over something in the street and 2 tires go out. That just happened on Friday. You can drive home and start hearing something clicking when you're on the highway in a storm in your vehicle. That just happened. But you know what? But God. And so I have to have faith because I know that I'm doing what it is that He's told me to do. Now that's the other part to this. Even in business, you have to be in the right business and you have to be morally right toward people. Some things and some decisions that you make may not feel good, may not make good sense, may not look good on paper. But guess what? If you're walking with God and you have the faith that He is going to sustain you, that it's not you that sustains you, that it's Him that sustains you, then it makes it a little bit easier for you to make choices that don't seem so popular. And when you make those choices that are not popular, we have to say that, you know what, by faith, we understand that the entire universe was formed by God, by His command. So what I'm saying, God, is that I want to line up with you because the entire universe is under your command. So let me get in step. Let me get in place. And it's hard to get in place and it's hard to stay in place because stuff just don't feel good sometimes. But if I keep in the forefront of my mind that He's in charge of everything, then I have to stand on my faith, even in times of adversity. But then what I like about God is that He'll give you God winks. That's what I call it. He'll give you little winks from heaven that let you know you're doing the right thing. So you may see that, hey, I had to go, outside of my comfort zone and do this over here. But then He'll come back right behind it and give you what I call that God wink and that encouragement to say, you know what, I did the right thing, even if it didn't feel good when I did it.
And that's why we have to embrace being uncomfortable, because uncomfortable means you're growing, right? And in order for us to be able to have that faith and have that confidence and faith, we have to have a relationship with Him too, right? So that's why that's all full circle. That's so important, right, Dr. Anita? Could you elaborate on that a little bit more about the relationship?
Absolutely.
Building that spiritual relationship with Him. So that being spiritually grounded is so important.
Absolutely, it is, because without being spiritually grounded, without having a relationship, if you don't know who you're dealing with, you don't know what they come with. I'm working on a project now, and I talk about partnering with God. What is the importance of partnering with Him? Yes, He is the head, and He's the head of my life. But if I don't line up, if I don't know what it is that He's willing to do for me, if I don't know the promises that He has for me, then what am I out here doing? What am I trusting? So a lot of times we'll say I trust God, but for this call, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. What we have to do is make sure that we are rooted and we are grounded. A lot of times we think that things are not going the way that we want it to go, but that's because we don't understand His word. And in order to know, to have that foundation, in order to be rooted, you have to know His word. So, if I look at my son and say, it's not fair that he has to suffer, but I don't know that Christ already suffered, then I'm I'm confused behind my son's suffering. But I'm confused behind my son's suffering. I'm not confused behind my own suffering. I'm not confused about the suffering that my children go through in order for me to do the things that I'm called to do, because then I know on the backside of it that God is going to bless us even when we thought we were suffering, and we can go back and look and say, you know what, that wasn't suffering. That was just, we just couldn't do it right then. You know, we just didn't take vacation that time. We just didn't have the extras that time. But without knowing the promises of him, then we couldn't do that. And then the other thing that we have to do, we have to be grounded and know what he promises us in order that we can call him on it. He wants us to know his word enough that he gets an opportunity to prove it to us, to show us, hey, I told you that no weapon formed against you will prosper. I didn't say it wasn't going to be any weapons. I didn't say that. I said they weren't going to prosper. And so those are the types of things that we have to really hold on to and be grounded in, so that our story brings glory to him. Not glory to us, brings glory to him. But then he'll allow us to reap benefits from things. But until you're doing it right, it's no point in doing it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I know, so you wrote your book, Discipline Through Your Disability, right? Discipline Through Your Disability.
It's actually
discipline.
Discipline.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Through your disability, while your son was experiencing Down syndrome, right? You were facing some major life changes. So talk more about your book and about those changes that you were going through, because you wrote that book through pain.
I absolutely did. You know, to talk about how God sets things up, I was suffering. I was hurt. I had basically given up my entire lifestyle. I wanted to do it because I wanted to be there for my son and be able to take care of him. But you have to realize, I didn't have children until later in life. So I was 40, having a set of twins, and one of them being disabled. So I had to learn a whole new life skill. But I also had him while I was in school, while I was working on my master's. There were times that in going to school, I was taking him with me. He was on a feeding tube, and I would have to put a backpack on with the feeding machine and carry him in my arms and go to class. Well, so I just did it. I just did what I needed to do. And when I wrote my dissertation, after, I worked a couple years on my master's and then went into my PhD, I wrote about discipling through your disability, because a disciple is no more than a teacher. And Nicholas and his condition was teaching me so much about myself. And what I like to share with people is that what I learned in that process is that I had more disabilities than he did. Mine just were not diagnosed. So what happens is you go through things that stifle you, that stop you from doing stuff, and they disable you. But here is this baby with a diagnosis that, he's imperfect and all of these things, and I had to learn how to make it work, how to still have life, to still have joy, even though I was going through a time of uncertainty. And in school, when I turned in my dissertation, and I went and defended it, and the way God would have it, one of the professors that I had to defend it to was a publisher, and he said, this needs to be published. So I never even set out for this journey in my mind. And so that's another thing. If you're rooted, so it all goes back, you have to be rooted. God knew what direction he was going to send me in. So as I wrote, I took my dissertation back and said, okay, let me try to get this in book form. I tried to make it where it's an easy read, where it's not, and being open and honest and saying, hey, this doesn't feel good. It's not fun. I don't like when people come and tell me what my child is not going to do, what not to be, not to have my hopes set on. But what happened is that I watched my son live, and I still watch him live with his disability. And what amazes me is that he don't act like he had no disability because he don't know he had one. It's us. So I still, I've learned so much in this process that of what God is trying to teach us, and basically saying, put your best effort, do your best, and that the process of writing that book really has set the stage for everything else. Even for my nonprofit, I just started out wanting to tell ladies, hey, you don't have to give up. You don't have to believe what doctors say. And that was really the basis behind my book. And even the toward the ending of the book, I even challenge people who may know others who are doing long-term care, where I say, I didn't want anybody to come and pick Nicholas up, or I didn't want to drop him off to anybody's house, but it would have been nice if someone came over and said, you know what, I'm going to put some adult eyes on him. You go take a bath, or I'll ride with you to the grocery store. So those are the types of things that I look forward to sharing and encouraging families and the village that supports them. That's really what Deciphering Through Your Disability really is. Lessons that I have learned, true life lessons that I've learned along the way in having a son with a disability. And then I had a daughter that was 2.5 when I gave birth to my son, and my son is a twin. So we had to make some real changes around here. But it's been a blessing. His twin is his best therapist, because there's nothing wrong with her. So he wants to do what she does. So then that tells me, you know what, if I see better and I want to do better, I can. Just that simple.
Yes. And I just want to commend you for, reaching back and pulling forward, being able to help other people who might be experiencing some of the things that you've done went through, and just your strength, because that's a lot to endure, right? Your process, and that's the most important part of our journey. But you endured it, and now look at all the great things that you're doing, and now you're able to tell your story and help someone else that might be going through having a child with Down syndrome or any other type of disability. So I just want to commend you for creating that space and reaching back and pulling forward.
Thank you very much. We have to, and I'm very transparent. I have gotten to a point in my life where I'm not condemned. I don't condemn myself of decisions that I made, but I share in my book how I thought that all of the stuff that I had done wrong, all of my bad decisions, everything that I could have done that was outside of the will of God, all of those things had been just bottled up. All of my sin had been bottled up, and that was why everything was put on my son. That was why, God gave me this child with all of these issues, and I started feeling guilty, So I don't mind sharing that with other parents, and I hear them say, I've also thought that maybe it's something that I did. Maybe it was something in my genes. All kind of things come up when we start wondering, well, what happens? Did I lie too much and now I got this baby that has a problem? Have I, had too many inappropriate relationships, and boom, I have this kid with a problem? And those are real life things, but I don't mind talking about it. I don't mind talking about it.
I love it because you don't know whose life you're going to change and whose life you're helping by talking about it, because all of us have a story, right? And we need to share our stories.
Absolutely.
And thank you for doing that. So what are some strategies, Dr. Anita, you would give to listeners who are struggling with their faith? Because, some people, that's some things that they struggle with. So what are some key strategies you would give to listeners who are in that position right now?
You know what? That's a very, very good question. The first thing that I would say is to come clean with yourself. A lot of times we struggle with stuff because we're living in the fairy tale of our own lives to ourselves. And so what we have to do is we have to come clean with ourselves and then just, cry out to God. You don't have to go to a church and do it. It don't have to be on Wednesday or Sunday. You can get in your own room, shut the door, and say, you know what, God, here I am. Here I am. And with all of my mess ups, with all of my problems, all of my issues, there's nothing that he won't forgive us of if we ask him. But we have to just, be honest with ourselves. Sometimes we have told ourselves a lie so long that we start trying to believe it. And so I think that really is the number one most important thing, is to come clean with yourself, because God already knows the truth anyway. He just wants you to own up to it and tell him that you're sorry. And then we have to actively and purposefully try to change our ways. We have to. There's going to always be temptations. The enemy knows what we like. I share with my folks. He knows what lips, tips, and fingertips that you like. It's just he knows everything, and he knows all of the things that tempt you. He knows this, and those things are going to come up. Period. It's coming up. But you know what? We have to recognize what our issue is. What's your thing? What my it is, and then say, you know what, God, I need you to help me with this. I know that this is a problem, and then you know what? Be on guard for it coming. Don't put try your best not to put yourself in a position of being hit with what you know your weakness is. So you have to own up to yourself and your mistakes and repent, ask him for forgiveness, and then start saying, I'm going to actively try to make sure I'm doing things that's pleasing to you, God. I want you to know that you can trust me. That is, and that for me has been. I heard that about a year ago from a dear friend of mine, and I said, you know what? That's the key right there. I want God to know he can trust me with everything, in everything, that he can trust me to make the right decisions. He can trust me to do what he asks me to do. He can trust me that I don't have my ill motives behind what I'm going to do. He can trust me that even if temptation comes up, that I'm going to do all I can, even if I have to say, oh, God, I see it coming. Please, please do something. That he can trust me in everything. And then, you know what? Then you can rest in it. You can rest. If you know that, hey, I'm out here just trying to make sure God can trust me. My truth was, I have done enough bad stuff and inappropriate stuff for a lifetime. So you know what? Why not trust God? And why not allow him to be able to trust you? It ain't nothing out here that you haven't experienced. So try doing it right this time. And that's just the truth. Just decide that you're going to do it, and you're going to do it right, and that you want him to be well pleased with you. And then you have to look at what type of legacy I'm leaving. What type of legacy am I leaving? My girls, my oldest daughter is 12. She doesn't know how to ride a bicycle. The reason why, when she was time for her to learn how to ride a bicycle, she was operating a feeding pump and knowing how to draw meds to help me, because I had 2 babies to take care of. So sometimes those truths that hit, let's say, you know what, God, it's some things, I got some real life stuff going on over here, so I can't keep fooling around with shenanigans. I got to get real, because it's some things going on in my life that only God can handle. And so when you make up your mind, it makes it a whole lot easier. You just have to make up your mind that this is what we're going to do, and we're going to stick to it.
I love it, love it, love it, love it. And that's so important, definitely putting him first and letting him direct your path and trusting the process. So I love that. So Dr. Anita, tell us more about your coaching business and how listeners can, purchase your services and get in contact with you. Can you talk more about your coaching business?
Yes, thank you so much. So my coaching started really from, I had a couple parents, a couple of mothers that reached out to me. They had, I don't know how they got my book, but they got their hands on my book, and they reached out to me and would ask me basically, how did you get your son to be so, what they use the word, normal? And I said, well, you know what, let's use the word typical. How did I get my son to be typical? You know how I treated him like he was typical. And so from that point of saying, hey, this is all you have to do, I then it was after they reached out to me that I even went and got my coaching license. I just have the mindset of making sure you have all the tools to do the work that you're called to do, that you're headed in to do. So you can reach me by my email, and it's my name, Anita _Penn at yahoo.com. And then I will give the website information where they can go on and get services. Reason being, we're in the middle of changing things, because I just started I'm in my second year with my nonprofit, and I needed to bring everything under one hat, if you will. So we are currently in the process of revamping the website, but they can reach me at my email, Anita _Penn at yahoo.com, and I will definitely get them started with the services.
Great. So listeners, make sure you reach out to Dr. Anita if you're looking for coaching or being part of her coaching program. So Dr. Anita, you are the founder of Just in the Nick of Time, Inc. and In My Auntie's Arm. Both of these are nonprofit organizations. So please tell us more about your amazing nonprofit and how we can support and get involved.
Okay. Well, Just in the Nick of Time Ministries Incorporated, it is a for-profit. That's where I do my I sell my books, other products. Where I'm also a minister, so I you can book me for conferences, whatever. I also do workshops. Can kind of tailor things, even if there's something that administrative things that you want to talk about, like for churches. I'll do those types of things, and that kind of falls under the ministry. And then the In My Auntie's Arms, to tell you, when you say you want God to know He can trust you, about 5 years ago, I was invited to come and teach at a workshop, at a retreat actually, and after going the first year, I was invited back a second time, and this particular retreat generally gets different people every year, but the request was from the younger ladies that I would come back and take them into a separate session, and I did. And then after that, they said, well, you know what, you talk to us like a mama, but you think you too jazzy for us to call you mama, so we're going to call you auntie. And I said, okay, that works for me. And then they said, well, we need something more than once a year. And I prayed about it, and the following year, God laid it upon my heart and gave me the charge to start In My Auntie's Arms, and I did. And then we ultimately registered it to be a nonprofit. But we just mentor young ladies 18 and up, and not ladies that are like unchurched. These are ladies and young ladies who have been in church but have been condemned by the holy hush. Don't talk about this and don't talk about that. And now they're living with things that have hurt them, but the church kind of has dropped the ball in teaching them how to deal with life and how to handle life situations. And so I meet once a month, the first Saturday of the month here in the Dallas area, where I have empowerment workshops one-on-one. They come in and we spend about 2 hours together. And then I also this year, in this past January, I've started doing a 9 at 9 minutes of empowerment at 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. Just something to say, hey, you can do it. Let's stay out there. Yes, life happens. Things happen, but guess what? We can make it through. And the 9 at 9 has just taken off like a wildfire. I was sitting here before I got on the line with you and updating my map. Just in these 6 months, we have like 22 states represented where women are logging in just to get those nighttime nuggets, something to hold on to for, and see how God just takes and orchestrates those nuggets, that little knowledge into their lives. And based on the feedback, it's really important. And I guess that what is happening now is we're getting at a stage where we're reaching out and we're looking for help, but there are those of us who have to be on the front lines to be ready to help them when they come, and say it's okay that you've covered this up for so many years. It's okay that you have not talked about it. I haven't talked about some things too for several years, but you know what? Here's a safe place. I'm a safe person. Let's talk about it. Let's hit it so that it's not affecting you the same way anymore. Never did I think that would be a passion for me, but I love it. I absolutely love it.
Love that. So, listeners, make sure that you support Dr. Anita's nonprofit and her for-profit. She's doing some amazing things, and especially with aunties, in my auntie's arms. That I want to just thank you for creating that space, Dr. Anita, for those women who are struggling in different areas of their lives and need that space to be able to vent and be able to move past some of those past things that have really affected them and from being able to move forward. So thank you for creating those spaces as well.
Thank you. And that's what we have to do. And we have to, you're right about creating a space. They have to know they're safe. And that is one of the things that I try to make sure of. When we hold our meetings, we don't meet at the church, we meet at the library. So guess what? We can talk about everything here, or you can come to my house, we can talk about everything here. And, it's one of those things, nothing is off limits, because I want the ladies to be whole. I want you to know that even if you're single, if you want, one is a whole number. If you got God, one is whole. And so, just to know that they are enough, to know that because God created you, you are enough. Because He had a plan for you before you even hit this world. When you were forming in your mother's womb, His word says He had a plan for you then. So you're not here by mistake. I heard I can't think of who it was. I heard someone say, out of all of the brothers and sisters that you were swimming up the stream with, you made it. So you are here for a reason, and we have to hear that sometimes. You're important. What you bring to the table is important, and we don't bring the same thing. But God is forming a masterpiece. So Miss Ashley, He'll take your piece, He'll take my piece, and He'll take everybody else's piece, and then He forms this great masterpiece. But it took all of us in order for Him to form it, and we have to remember to share that with other people. You're important, and what you bring is important, and we need you. We need you to be a part of this masterpiece. Without your part, we are not complete.
I love it. So, Dr. Anita, how did you create your seat at the table? I asked all of my guests this question. How did you create your seat at the table?
How did I create my seat at the table? I believe I created my seat at the table because I had a heart for go for those who felt left out, who felt like they that they were not important. And they've been wearing these masks, that they've been covering up their truth. And I created my seat there to say, you know what, we're going to take the Band-Aid off, but I'm going to help you get some balm to heal that. And we know that Jesus is that. So I think that's how I created my seat at the table.
I love it. So what else can we expect from Dr. Anita the rest of 2019? I consistently follow you on a daily basis, and you're doing some amazing things. So what else can we expect from Dr. Anita the rest of 2019?
Well, I am so excited. I was trying to finish a book on last year, but things just were not lining up. I can see why now. It was not time. But my next book project is currently at the editors, and it's going to be life changing. It will hit everybody. So look for that coming out soon. I'll be sharing on social media when we're ready to get it out to the masses. And also, I'm looking forward to planning something for ladies, just something that's going to hit on every aspect of our womanhood. And I'm just looking forward to whatever else God says for me to do. Just know I'm going to do it. It may be something that is all the way off base, but if God said it, it may not even line up with what you see me doing now, but if God says do it, I'm going to do it. Look for me more on social media. That is one of the areas where God is directing me to go into, and it's kind of funny because I'm not fond of electronics and all of that, so He's stretching me. And so as He stretches me, I'm going to share and do and try to stretch others as much as I can too, so that we all are meeting our greatest potential.
Awesome. I can't wait to see what God is going to continue to do in your life the rest of 2019, and I wish you much success. So would you please tell our listeners, you are welcome, would you please tell our listeners how they can follow and contact you?
Absolutely. So I am on Facebook under Anita Allen Penn. I'm also on Facebook under Dr. Auntie. And then on Instagram, and I can give you my website. It's just not completed. But on Instagram, you can follow me under I Am Dr. Auntie. And the website is iamdrauntie.org. So anything with Dr. Auntie, we just combined both names, trying to get everything under one umbrella. But from this point moving forward, if you just look up Dr. Auntie, you will find me. I am Dr. Auntie. You can find me. So I'm on Facebook, Anita Allen Penn or Dr. Auntie. And then for ladies, In My Auntie's Arms also has a group on Facebook, and that is how you can access the 9 at 9. So I would love if you can join in with us. You actually will have time to join us tonight, but you have to join the In My Auntie's Arms group, and then you can access 9 at 9.
Awesome. Well, make sure you join the In My Auntie group and follow Dr. Anita. Follow her, support her. She's doing some amazing things. Dr. Anita, I would like to thank you for coming to the table tonight. You had an amazing interview, and I look forward to bringing you back to the table soon.
Thank you so much, Miss Ashley Little. I do appreciate you so very much for considering me to come. And I call people by their first name, and if I'm not giving you the right accolades, I am so sorry. If I'm not, I do apologize. But I thank you so much for reaching out to me. I thank you for your support, and I ask you to just continue to pray for me and that I can do the things that God is calling me to do.
Yes, and I wish you much success, Dr. Anita. You're doing some amazing things, and I can't wait, as I stated, I can't wait to see all of the great things that He's going to continue to manifest in your life throughout 2019. So I just can't wait. I'm over here watching. Like I stated, consistently watching you, and you're always reaching back and pulling forward. So congratulations on all the things that you're doing. Thank
you so much. I appreciate you and what you're doing and highlighting those of us who are just out here trying to do what we've been called to do. So thank you so much for what you're doing as well. I do appreciate it.
You are welcome. You are welcome. I would like to give a special thanks to Tammy Collins Marquis. I would like to give a special thanks to John Schamberger. And I would also like to give a special thanks to author Kimberly McLemore. And I would like to give a special thanks to my intern, Sarah, from Tennessee State University, and my other intern, Tyler, from Tennessee State University. You all may follow me on Facebook at Ashley Little, and on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Creating Your Seat at the Table, where Ashley speaks with corporate professionals, celebrities, entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers who are transitioning or have transitioned to entrepreneurship.